Story time on how my best friend did to me the same thing that Amaya Colon did to her best friend, okay? I have this childhood best friend that I met like in second, third grade, right? Her name is Catherine Batista. We used to go to school together in Corona, New York. We were best friends for a couple years. Then in sixth grade, my family moved to a different area in Queens, New York. And me and her didn't no longer went to the same school together, so we wasn't communicating as much for a couple, like the whole high school pretty much. After high school, we got older, and now we're able to like take the bus by ourselves, take the train by ourselves. So we will come see each other. I will come see her in Corona. She will come see me in Jamaica, Queens. We started hanging out again. I think like after high school, we were still best friends. We loved each other so much. That's what I thought, at least. Eventually, I got with this guy of color, and the reason why I'm saying this guy of color is because she was a white Dominican. If you're from New York, you know the white Dominicans is very, very racist. Anyway, so she got with this guy, and she ended up having 2 kids with this guy. Okay, then I ended up getting with this guy, like I said, guy of color, and she like hated him so much. She was like, I don't know what you see in him. I don't like him for you. He's so ugly. Like, you really need to leave him. His nose is so big. Like you need to leave him. She would barely see him because she'll be hanging out at my house, and then sometimes he'll come, but by the time he was like walking in, she was ready to like walk out. But she knew exactly who he was because I would post him on Instagram. I would tag him on Instagram. Now that we're older, whatever. So I always had issues with this guy. I was so in love with him. I always been so in love with him since I met him. And like, he just wasn't like the greatest guy for me. But that's another story. I will call my best friend, which was her at the time. I tell her all these things, and like, he did this, he did that, and I'll cry to her, and I'll vent, and all of these things that were going on in my life, right? Anyways, eventually I had a baby with this guy, and like, he was just running around cheating, doing him all the time. He would block me here and there, like, so when he blocked me, I used to go in panic mode because I felt like I didn't know what he was doing. I was just like, I had a newborn baby, I couldn't do anything. My life just felt like it was going through hell. And she was there to pick me up as what I thought she was. I realized that she actually follows him on Instagram, and I didn't think nothing wrong with it because, like I said, I will tag him on Instagram all the time. So I felt like maybe she just like follow him because, it's been years now. She likes him for me or whatever it is, right? So I'm like, Kati, like, you have him on Instagram. Like, can you screen record everything he's posting? Because I needed to know what he was doing. She would screen record everything to me, and at the same time, she'll say to me like, oh, I thought you guys were doing good. He be buying you Chanel. He be buying you this, blah, blah, whatever. And then, mind you, this whole time she's been in a relationship with her baby daddy that she has 2 kids with, Anyways, as months went by, she will always like screen record like whatever he'll post. Because like I said, me and him were like on and off. It was just like very toxic. Months later, we were laying down, we were sleeping, and I noticed that he fell asleep. And then I was like, this is my time to look through his phone because I knew he was cheating. Like, I just knew. Boom, right? And in one of the DMs that I see her name, Catherine Batista, like her Instagram. And I'm like, that's weird. I didn't know they like, I'm like, okay, he be posting my kids, so maybe she be replying like, oh, my nephew, my niece, like, we besties. So like, I thought she was just probably replying to some of the kids' pictures that he'll post. So I clicked on it, and I was like, hold on. I'm gonna give you a little piece of everything. So pretty much this whole time that she was screen recording the stuff for me, she was telling him, yo, Carolina is crazy, delusional. You need to stop messing with her. She's making me screen record your videos, your pictures, everything. Keeps posting your business on Instagram like she's not the girl for you. Blah, blah, whatever, right? I came to find out that this whole time, my best friend was telling me to leave him. She was talking to him. She had a whole relationship with my baby daddy. Mind you, she still was in a relationship with her baby daddy. She was living with him, probably still lives with him until this day because he never found out because she begged me to like not tell him, but that goes in the next part. My best friend, my childhood best friend, had been having a relationship with my baby daddy boyfriend this whole time that I was venting to her. I immediately confront her, immediately. The thing she said was, I'm sorry, Carolina, I'm sorry. I was going through a lot with my boyfriend, which is her baby daddy. He's been cheating on me. I've been feeling lonely. I'm always at the house with the kids. And like, I just like wanted, I just needed somebody to listen. And he was there to listen to me. He was there for me. And then it's like, I was running short with money, and he was sending me money for me and the kids. And I'm sorry that I did this to you, but please don't tell Elvis. because if he finds out, he's not gonna pay for our apartment anymore. Me and my kids is gonna be homeless. And you know, she continued to apologize. She tried to call me. She tried everything, and it's like, this is us like back on like messages. She tried to call me. I didn't even want to pick up. He was right next to me sleeping. My emotions, I was crying. It was just so much that I just couldn't even, you know. I ended up not telling her baby daddy because I felt like, you know, she doesn't have a job. She doesn't have a way to take care of those kids. She's really been a stay-at-home mom. She only knew him, like, she's pretty much been knowing her boyfriend since she was like so young that like that's all she has. And I felt bad, but it was just crazy because nobody felt bad for me. You know, I was hurting because she was my best friend.
I caught a man living in my basement. Disclaimer, this is a scary story. 12 months ago, I was finally able to escape my abusive husband. I literally had to hide from this man. We went through a horrible divorce, but the judge ruled in my favor because I had so much evidence. At the time, all I wanted to do was go back and live with my parents. My parents are the most loving, logical, reasonable people I know. And after being in a relationship with my husband for 4 years, receiving all the abuse that I did, I just wanted to be with them. So I moved back in with my parents and everything was fine. Soon after that, my parents told me they wanted to retire and move to the Philippines. But I knew that I didn't want to go there, so I decided to stay in the US. That meant I had to find my own apartment. And what I ended up finding was a cute little cottage outside of the city. I even decided to quit my job and to start writing. And I knew that I could afford to live off of my savings. I was living that cottagecore life. I even bought clothes, I was baking bread, was even making my own cheese. Life was too good. Felt like I was living in a fairy tale and something bad was about to happen. But I could never even dream of what was about to happen to me. One day I came home to find my door open. Part 2 is up, you have to go watch it. I caught a man hiding and living in my basement. Disclaimer, this is a scary story. Now that I was living in my cottage, I felt completely safe. One day I went to pick some berries. I know it sounds like a fairy tale. When I came home, my front door was open about a foot or so. My stomach dropped because I knew that I had locked the door before I left. When I opened the door, everything looked normal inside. So I decided to calm myself down. I called my parents and I told them what happened. They told me that maybe the wind blew the door open or that maybe I just simply forgot to lock it, which all of that could have been true. The following day, I was making a strawberry shortcake. I went outside to my garden to pick some mint, and that's when I happened to look at the basement window. It had a full handprint on it. This didn't scare me immediately because the lady I rented the cottage from, she said that nobody had been down there in years. I grabbed the flashlight and opened the door to the basement, and that's when I smelled something. Intense body odor. The most intense body odor you could ever imagine. And that's when I knew there was someone down there. I walked halfway down the steps, and when I pointed my flashlight to a corner, I saw a man sitting in a squatting position, and I knew who that was. It was my ex's best friend. You have to go to part 3. This is when I pointed my flashlight and I saw a man squatting in the corner in nothing but underwear. And I recognized him as my ex's best friend. And I shout out his name to him and he says, "Hey." I say, "What are you doing here?" That's when he confessed that my husband let him in. That him and my ex-husband had both been living in my basement and that they would each take turns living there. He told me that my ex-husband was obsessed with me, that he would constantly listen to my conversations and watch me do everything. That my ex paid him to watch me while he couldn't. He even told me that my ex-husband would come up at night and watch me sleep. Then he told me that my ex gave him permission to do whatever he wanted to me if he ever got caught. And he said, "You better go upstairs right now." I ran up the stairs, locked the door behind me, called the cops and my parents immediately. My parents jumped on a plane from the Philippines back to the US. The police came and arrested him, but they never found my ex-husband. They're both in the military, so they have training. Cops found weapons and a cell phone full of videos of me. Videos my husband would take of me while I showered and did everything. I moved to the Philippines with my parents. I've never seen them again.